To end off 2024, we're in San Marino. Sebastian Ocampo on pole from Jonathan Sims and Oscar Falstad. Then it's CC in 4th, Bogdasarov 5th, Carter 6th, and Tommy starting 7th. UK Balls in 8th, Rubbo's 9th. Tonali Gatto starts 10th from Lewis Olsen and Santino Milan. Then it's Leo in 13th, and Ocui 14th. Babinis Jr. starts 15th from Pablo Sierra and Dav Sanchez. Then it's Akari Lopez, followed by Vasti in 10 and Cosmos. Then it's Pierre Gasly and Miguel de Souza in 22nd. Well then, this will be the last video that I record in the current year of 2024. Sebastian Ocampo on pole, Sims alongside, all 5 lights go on. And we are green for the last race in 2024 here in San Marino. Very good start from Jonathan Sims, driving his own car, and he's already up into the race lead, far ahead Sebastian Ocampo before they reach turn 1, as CC teammate cutting across one of the 2 turns at the chicane, and that make up, I believe, Tamburello curve. But Sims leads the way from Ocampo, and Revero at his second home race gets a 5-second time penalty for causing a collision. And considering how in practice so many drivers were going off track, I don't think this is cause for concern with the guys down at GS Automobiles in this final part of the season. But the 2 drivers fighting over 7th, that might be cause for concern. Lewis Olsen's right behind him, and look at that from Carter, setting it down the inside and up into 6th position. Santino Milan gets a 5-second time penalty, but on lap 1 of 15, Sims heads the field from Ocampo and Bogdasarov. And currently, I do believe Ocampo would reclaim the lead of the championship, and it's a lead of the championship that he'll be loving to have with 13 laps left to run. And Revero on the back of his teammate. Of course, that time penalty is going to hinder the rest of his race. He cuts across the curb there. See, as Pablo Sierra down in 19th gets a corner cut warning. Track extending, of course, we don't want to do that too often. Tommy gets a track limits warning, of course. He's in 6th position. He overtook Carter again to hold on to it. And is that Lewis Olsen? Yes, it is. He's looking to try and get past. Well, he lost out quite a bit of time going through that turn. And look at that, UK ball darting around the Dragon Running Man in front of him. And of course, I'm doing my best to stay as quiet as possible. There are people around me who do not want to hear me screech. But look at that, Lewis Olsen to P8, ahead of Revero already, with only a handful of laps left to run in the rest of the season. Every point counts, and it feels like Dragon have just said it's go time. Sims, well, he's setting in fastest lap. He's only got a handful more races to run this, race 16 of 18 in the season. And to round out his season with a race win would be something absolutely brilliant and critical. But Sims himself gets a track limits warning. It's his 2nd of the day. He gets two more of those, and it's a 5-second time penalty. So of course the team would probably be howling at him over team radio, telling him to stop with that. But that could impact what could be today his first race winners. His teammate CC's found his way into 3rd position. He might even try to go for 2nd to make Sims his first win. Not just his first win, but the first one to Sims Motorsport in the sun before they reach season 20 and their 3rd season, which I do believe the Americans would say their junior year, as Falstad now on the back of Bogdasarov and CC. So here comes the Norwegian man. Reportedly didn't choose the number 1. Says it was a mistake made on upper management, and we can confirm that now. And there goes Falstad's at P3, and CC gets dropped down to P5 there. Carter up in 6th, his teammate Revero down in 9th. Sims gets a 3rd track limits warning. That's going to be really painful if he gets a 5-second time penalty doing that. Carter also gets a track limits warning, so it is cutting over the curb, going through Miguel de Souza, doing something similar. I do believe Pablo Sierra would have also been noted for that. It's always track extending to gain the littlest of time. But races can be and have been decided by literal inches before. You only have to look back to Oslo and London for dead heats in this championship. We've seen two of the closest finishes happen at tracks where we've seen two of the closest and two of the widest finishes. As you can see again, Cici and Baltasar fighting over fourth. Volstad's dropped them effectively with 10 laps left to run. Cici reclaims fourth position as Cable dives into the pits from 10th place, and he's got a little bit of damage, not a lot. Cosmos also comes into the pits. He's got a 5-second gap between the top two, and Sims is going to need that. He's got himself a track limits penalty. 5-second time penalty, the track extending, and Ocampo's got himself a time penalty for doing the same thing. Milan and Cici both getting track limits penalties, and out of the race goes Pierre Gasly. And where was that? On board with his teammates. And was that at the hairpin? We're now under full course yellow. The net race lead is actually with Oscar Volstad, because he doesn't have any time penalties, and he's within 5 seconds of race leader. Well, he was within 5 seconds of race leader, Jonathan Sims. So now, there's a real fight here between Sims and his lead, and the gap he's currently got. In comes Jonathan Sims and Sebastian Ocampo. Volstad takes the lead of the Prix with 9 laps to go. And Cosmos further back. That was a pretty wide line he took. Many drivers coming into the pits at the end of this lap. And Volstad's tyres, you can see already lots of wear being accumulated on the surface of those tyre wolf softs. And he just really has to keep it in a straight line. He's been given a track limits warning. Further back, you can see, I think that was Miguel de Souza beginning to struggle with tyres, whether getting a track limits warning as well, further ahead of this little group of drivers. And it is all about how much grip you have. Sims, once again, with the track limits warnings. It's a little insane in how they've decided to measure track limits around here today. There's certain terms where they're a lot more strict when it comes to it. Bastian Tan into the wall and out of the race. That's Bastian's day over. Slam the side of Miguel de Souza. Both of them struggling with grip. And unfortunately, Bastian got suspension damage and is out. With 9 laps left to run here in San Marino, and Volstad, Cici, Carter, and presumably Revo as well. Yes, they're going to be double stacking. No, they're not going to be double stacking down at DS Automobiles. So 8 to go. Revo takes the lead of the San Marino Prix. I was about to say Emilia Romagna, because that's the region of Italy that we're holding this in, but technically we're not allowed to say the same country twice. So Revo leads 5 seconds ahead of Sims, who's much over 5 seconds ahead of Volstad, but he might want to have 10 seconds in the bag, because he's got himself another track limits warning going through this hot hairpin, and his teammate Cici gets a track limits penalty as well, as Pablo Sierra gets himself ahead of Sebastian Ocampo. Santino Milan, his teammate, gets a 5-second time penalty. Well, he's had a 5-second time penalty handed to him. He's about to get one. Gabo does get one handed to him. And these time penalties that you're seeing on your screen, I'm pretty sure this man is the only one to have one for causing a collision. And he's trying to defend from Jonathan Sims behind, but I expect him to come into the pits quite soon. There's just not too much you can do with mediums that are like that. 7 laps to go. Sims still leading the pack. He's got a tag man in fact. And Ocampo sets a new fastest lap on a day where it could see him reclaim the lead of the world drivers standings. It could see Andretti keep themselves at the top of the heap. As Sims gets himself a third track limits warning, he's going so far over the curb. Ocampo gets his first warning. as Falstad, I'm pretty sure, has been quite clean when it's come to the track limits. Tommy trying to close in on Lewis Olsen as Santino Milan gets a 10-second time penalty for track limits. That's really sad when you think about it. Tonali Gabo gets the fastest first sector of anyone. Daf Sanchez in 18th position, 19th position rather. First warning for track limits. And I expect everyone in this race to have a track limits warning of some form, as Bogdasarov, 5 seconds into the wall, gets forced there by Pablo Sierra, who doesn't get penalised, but a missing front wing for Bogdasarov and a 5-second time penalty with 6 laps to go. And for Pablo Sierra, that is something you should not do under any circumstances. When you have a slower car, because now he's pulled Bogdasarov into the pits with him, as if he's playing the third, as if he's driving the third Andretti car to keep him out of the title fight. As Sims, look at that, he's been given 10 seconds worth of time penalties. 5-second time penalty goes to Jack Carter, and both of them have had their time penalties handed due to track limits. And Santino Milan seems to be speed running penalties at this point. Miguel de Souza further back, and he's coming to his third track limits warning. You're only meant to get 3. The next one you get would be a time penalty. Akari down in 18th also gets a track limits warning. And for Pablo Sierra, if that was meant to hinder Bogdasarov, then it's probably hindered him a lot more as well. Bogdasarov, however, also getting a track limits warning, as into 16th goes Daf Sanchez. And 5 laps to go now. Jonathan Sims leads the way from Oscar Falstad and Sebastian Ocampo. That 10-second time penalty Sims has could mean that he might not even be able to win the race, of which he has led almost every single lap of. Sims, another track limits warning. Falstad gets a 5-second time penalty for track limits. Okay, that's actually changed quite a bit. Fastest lap goes to Akari Lopez. Further back, a 1:07 lap time, as most of them have been. A second track limits warning going to Santino Milan. 5 seconds to Tommy, 5 seconds to Miguel de Souza. It's a row of red up ahead. Meanwhile, the second half of the field, very little red, as Akari Lopez does get himself a track limits warning. And it's always very pick and choose when you see them. Third track limits warning for Bogdasarov. This is basically the track limits Prix, as Akari keeping himself ahead of Cosmos. Third track limits warning for Cable, who does not have a penalty. I feel like I should point that out, because at this point it's all going to come down to whether or not you've got a penalty. 4 laps to go. Sims leads, Falstad second, CC third, but at the top 9 all with 5-second time penalties. Lewis Olsen is the only man in the top 10 without a time penalty of any form, as we now come into this hairpin on board of Sims, and Falstad behind him gets a track limits warning. It's 5th of the day actually. Carter behind CC gets a track limits warning as well on board of Milan, and we're just trying to make sure, yeah, it's all 4 tyres going off the track going through that hairpin. And it's so easy to do because you can't really see where the white lines are. They're not that wide. They are quite hard to see. So I wouldn't blame any of the drivers for getting warnings like that, as Bogdasarov gets 10 seconds. So he's had 8 warnings for track limits. And Cable in 19th gets a 5-second time penalty for track limits. This is getting insane. Into the pits comes Jonathan Sims. Falstad takes the lead, but the clouds are coming over the track. Is there a chance of rain? Sims Motorsport Nissan, they knew they had to come in. Medium's going into Jack Carter's car. Does Milan come in? No, he stays out, so team's thinking it should stay dry for the rest of the race. So Falstad still leads from CC and Milan. Then it's Sims coming out of the pits in 4th position. But these time penalties are getting out of hand. I mean, Ravo's got 10 seconds. Milan's got 10 seconds. Bogdasarov's got 10 seconds. And only Ravo can blame himself for one of those penalties. Milan, another 5-second time penalty for track limits. Ravo, another one, as Ocampo, 10 seconds. Sims is hoping that Falstad ahead gets a 10 seconds because as Babinus Jr. gets another track limits penalty getting handed out to him, only Olsen, Leo, Inocui, Cosmos, and Dav Sanchez do not have penalties of any kind. Gasly out of the race also without a penalty, and knowing Pierre, it would probably be very good as out of the race goes Akari Lopez, and that's a collision with his teammates. Into the pits comes Falstad and CC. Milan comes in. Sims will take the lead, surely, as he comes across the start finish now. He's up in third. He's not in the lead. He's second to Falstad. Oh dear. 2 laps to go. Falstad is currently leading this Prix from Sims and CC and Ocampo. Time penalties are going to be the talk of the town today. And not just that, it's going to be the talk of how Sims could be about to lose out on his first race win. Not just that, but poor pit strategy that's just worked against the guys down at Sims Motorsport Nissan, surrounding that hairpin go between Nissan drivers, factory Nissan, as UK Ball gets a second track limits warning after his penalty. There goes Tommy up to P11, and Olsen, highest place driver without a time penalty of any form, is out of this race. Massive shunt for the Norwegian number 20, but he is out, and that means the highest placed man without a time penalty is currently running in 12th position. Slow and steady might actually win this. Well, he'd need to be 5 seconds close to Falstad for him to actually win the race. But we're on to the penultimate lap now. And Falstad still leading the pack from Jonathan Sims and CC. As it would stand, would it be a double podium for Sims Motorsport as Milan comes across? Well, yeah, it's going to be a double podium for the Sims Motorsport either way. Sierra comes into the pits for his second and hopefully final stop. Pretty slick pit entrance despite all that wear. Falstad getting his third track limits warning. And Sims Motorsport, the number 46, has got himself a 10-second time penalty for track limits warnings. Milan's probably going for a 20-second time penalty. We've seen a 30-second, I'm pretty sure. Babinus Jr. has got himself a corner cut warning as he's fighting. Oh, he's not fighting. Yeah, he is fighting with Bob Tassarov, Gabo, and someone else that didn't catch who. They've both gotten time penalties. As Cosmos gets a time penalty for track limits. So many drivers have gotten time penalties for track limits that only this man, Dav Sanchez, is without a penalty. So I don't know how this race is going to finish officially, but all I can do is say it as it is out on track. Falstad is leading the way. Sims is second. CC is in third, but Falstad's got a corner. Falstad's gone across Tamburello. Ocampo's also cut across there. And so time penalties, of course, being the name of the game. Jack Carter cutting across. Falstad's got a 10-second time penalty for track extending effectively. Bob Tassarov is getting a faster slap. Carter 5-second time penalty for track limits. Oh, this is going to be insane. UK Ball also gets a 5-second time penalty. It becomes 10. The top 8 all with 10 seconds. Revo gets 15, but all I can say right now is that it should finish as is, at least for the top 4. It's absolute hell on earth for the FIA stewards, but coming through the final turn, it should be Falstad who wins. UK Ball is out of this race, but Falstad should win from Sims and CC. Then it's Ocampo, Milan, Carter, Revo, Tommy, Miguel de Souza, Leo, Gabo, Bob Tassarov, Babinus Jr., Yui, Sierra, Sanchez, the only man without a time penalty to his name, the absolute Chad, and Cosmos, the last of your finishers. At least on the road, because I'm pretty sure that Sanchez is going to wind up getting points somehow. But wow, there was so many penalties handed out today. That just makes no sense to me. So this is the podium. Oscar Folstad does win from Jonathan Sims and CC for Sims Motorsport Nissan. It's a double podium for Sims, but you gotta wonder if they hoped, or rather knew, that it should have been a win if it weren't for that second virtual safety car. And then it's Ocampo from Milan, Casa, Tommy and Miguel de Souza. Then it's Leo and Revo who just about got 10th. Then Das Sanchez managed 11th without any penalties. Then it's Babinus Jr., Inokui, Tonali Gabo, PS, Pablo Sierra, Cosmos and Daniel Bogdasarov, with UK Ball, Olsen, Lopez, Vastiantan and Pierre Gasly your non-finishers. In the driver's standings, Ocampo leads the way, 2 points ahead of Revo heading into the last 2 rounds. And it's Bogdasarov, Pablo Sierra, Oscar Folstad, Sims, CC, UK Ball, Akari Lopez, Santino Milan, Lewis Olsen, Inokui, Leo, Cosmos, Tonali Gabo, Babinus Jr., Sanchez, Jack Carter, Miguel de Souza, Tommy Vastiantan and Pierre Gasly. So it is a 2-horse race between 2 already established champions in Ocampo and Revo. Ocampo could win next time out. He could win the championship if he wins the next race and Revo finishes in 10th or below. But heading into the constructor standings, right before, well, the resident wreckfest of the series in Marina Bay, Andretti Honda lead the way, 4 points ahead of DS Automobiles. Then it's Sims Motorsport, Nissan, Renault, Edams, Nissan, Nismo, DS McLaren TTR, Aurelia Pinnacle, Braun Honda GP, Aurelia Mahindra, Dragon Renault, and DS Venturi Formula E team. We'll see you guys next time then for the penultimate round of the championship in Singapore.